Okay, welcome back, guys. So I'm going to show you another way to exempt users, and that is using the block inheritance option. And then I'll also use this to explain the enforced option also. So when we go to the server manager again, and then tools, group policy management, so we expand. Now we have this wallpaper which makes sure that all our users have wallpapers. That's in they have a particular wallpaper, and then that wallpaper can't be changed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click on this OU here called HR, and I'm quickly going to create another group policy object for only the members of HR. But before we do that, I will show you block inheritance. When I right click on the HR, there are certain options here. One of them says block inheritance. What block inheritance means is that the OU should only accept or apply policies that are directly applied to it. Any other policy that is coming from the upper level, like from the domain level, should not be accepted by the system. So for example, we want the entire OU called HR not to be having the policy like the wallpaper coming from the top. So in that case, what we are going to do is we are going to click block inheritance here. Once we select block inheritance, then it means that any of the policies coming from the top are not going to affect the members of the HR OU. So I'm going to quickly update the group policy settings so we can see how this works. So command prompt GP update. Once this is done, I'm going to go to my client computer. I have a user called Westdyke logged in, and he's a member of HR. Let me just verify that once more. So Active Directory users and computers, HR, expand, HR, users. Yeah, there he is, Westdyke. He's a member of HR. So when I come back to the client computer, when I minimize this, and then I log out, and probably log back in, sign out, and then sign back in. Probably now he logs back in. Oh, it looks like the picture is still there, isn't it? But when we go, the wallpaper is gone. So all the people are affected except the people in the HROU. So if there is a particular policy that you want to apply to everybody but except an OU, then you can do block inheritance for that entire OU so that the policy does not affect them. Then the issue is, then what happens to all the other policies that we wanted to affect everyone? What happens to that policy that we want to apply to everyone? So let me show you something. Alright, so let's say that we want to make sure that the default domain policy applies to these people. Then we have the option to use what we call enforced. We can right click this and select enforced. What the enforced means is that the policy coming from the top should override any policy that is applied at the OU level. So the same, they have block inheritance, the wallpaper is not working on them. I'm going to enable enforced on the wallpaper, and then we will see what happens. So even though they have block inheritance, when I right click wallpaper and then I select enforced, and I go back out here, log out and log back in, sign out, and then sign back in. When I go back to the desktop, there, the wallpaper is back. So you can use block inheritance to exempt an organizational unit from a particular policy. Then you have to use the enforced to make sure that any other policy that you want to apply to that organizational unit is applied to them, even when they have block inheritance or when they have their own policy being defined at the OU level. So that is some of the other group policy exceptions that we have. Block inheritance to make sure a policy does not affect to an entire OU. Then you can use the enforce to ensure that even when they have block inheritance, particular policy applies to all of them. Thank you for watching. In the next video, we'll talk about the group policy modeling and then the group policy results. Have a wonderful day. And like the video, like the page, share the video, subscribe.